brush your energy field, and I have some scrunchies too to kind of hold everything back. But I'll start out by brushing everything. Which color do you like? This one kind of matches my shirt. Yeah, they're very soft. Yeah, go ahead, touch them. Yeah. Okay, I'll use that one to put your hair back. Great. And then just yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay, now that we've gotten kind of your aura brushed, now I can kind of pluck some of the negative energy out of your field. Okay, so just start, we're gonna do some breathing. Inhale for 5 counts and hold, and exhale for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and inhale for 5 and hold, and exhale for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then one more. Inhale for 5 and hold, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. That just loosens everything up, so it's really close now to the surface, and I can just kind of plug it off and kind of like tweak it with the brush and pull it off. There we go. Yeah, it's just like getting, if you have a pet and they go outside and they get little burrs in their fur, that's exactly what it's like, except that you are not my pet, but you do roll around in all kinds of energies, even within the comfort of your own home, and especially with a lot of the energetically messed up things that have been going on around us in the world, right? There's just a lot of that kind of energy just floating around, waiting to grab onto you and muck up your energy, right? So first, brand new year, brand new you. So this reading is going to cover December 30th through January 6th, 6th of 2021. So we're almost there. We are almost to the new year. Just remove and pluck off. Get all those little barbs and sticks. All of this nasty, nasty energy from all kinds of sources. Get that out of your energy field. There we go. Alright. Great. You look much, 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 much better. Better. Alright, so I'm going to use essential oil again, this time rosemary, in our water bath. And I'm going to drip a candle into this water, and then at the end of everything, so you have to either stick around till the end or skip ahead in the timestamps. Just a few drops. It smells so good. It smells so good. Okay. So we just had a full moon on Tuesday the 29th. Going into Wednesday the 30th, the moon is going to be in Cancer, and it's going to be in opposition to Mercury in Capricorn. Now, Mercury in Capricorn can be communication about work. It can also be a communication about if you're like coordinating with another person, about situations where you can make money with other people. We have a square between Venus in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces. And then the moon in Cancer is also going to be trining Neptune in Pisces. So with Venus in Sagittarius, you get this very it's all about like things you do to elevate yourself, but it can also have to do with money, and it can have to do with your love life. Love life. Now, because Sagittarius is a fire sign, its placement in square with Neptune in Pisces is going to create some interesting situations. However, both of those are mutable signs, so there is a little bit of flexibility there. But you might find that you want to go off and have adventures, and your partner might want to stay at home and relax. And moon in Cancer really fosters that energy, especially if one of you is a fire sign and one of you is a water sign. The roles could also be reversed. There's also going to be a quincunx between the moon in Cancer and Venus in Sagittarius. So probably there will be some action taken. So then Thursday is New Year's Eve on the Gregorian calendar. And you have an opposition between the moon in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn. Now this Pluto in Capricorn energy is going to be hanging around for a little while. And it really is about like undefined situations regarding career and regarding the things that you use to earn money. But then also it can have to do with endings and transformation. And as the moon is in its native sign of Cancer, that's very much a homebody energy. So you might find that there's cases where you're on call and you have to leave your house at like odd hours of the night in order to go to work. There's also a square between the moon in Cancer and Mars in Aries. So Mars in Aries is a very aggressive, active energy. And so these two placements, or these two transits, are happening kind of close together. Like the Pluto in Capricorn opposition is going to be either around midnight or around 3 in the morning, depending on if you live on either one of the United States coasts. And then the Mars in Aries square is going to be happening either around 5:45 or 8:45. So there's going to be kind of like that action. Maybe you're on call all night and you keep getting calls with questions and stuff like that. But then around 5 or 6 in the morning, you might actually have to go out and take care of some things. So that's that kind of energy. Obviously, it's going to manifest differently for everyone. Sorry. Sam eagles flying overhead. So, shortly after that, the moon is going to enter Leo. And you're going to get oppositions with now Jupiter and Saturn are in Aquarius, right? And this is a very iconoclastic energy because Jupiter and Saturn, Jupiter's like the sun who has all these new ideas, and Saturn's like the dad, and he's like very set in his ways, but he's also very established and very stable. And for these two planets to be together in Aquarius, which is an air sign energy, it's fixed air, and it has to do with so the star card in tarot is Aquarius energy. It's all about achieving your hopes and dreams, but it's also very group oriented, so groupthink involved as well, innovation. So the moon in Leo is great for creativity, and the arts especially. The moon has to do with art, and Leo has to do with creativity, and can have to do with children as well, so you might be doing art projects with kids. But this is a great energy, even though it's an opposition, to uncover hidden talents in the arts, and collaborate with other people and make money doing so, possibly, because remember, Jupiter is wealth and expansion, and Saturn is also about establishing things and concretion, which isn't of its own accord related to money. But when you're talking about finances, those are things that you want to have in place. You're also going to get a trine then between the moon in Leo and Chiron in Aries. So this could be a good reflective energy for you if you've tried to start projects in the past and weren't able to follow through with them. This oppositional energy with Jupiter and Saturn is going to facilitate that Chiron in Aries healing of these energies of starting things and not being able to finish them, if that makes sense. You're also going to have a square between two fixed placements, which is the moon in Leo and Uranus in Taurus. So we have that group energy coming back in again and talking about joint possessions and deciding the fate of things that a group of people are in charge of. That takes us into Friday, which is New Year's Day. So already we have some really good energies as far as starting new endeavors and getting things kicked off for 2021. We're going to have a sextile between Mercury in Capricorn and Neptune in Pisces, right? So we've talked about this Neptune and Pisces placement quite a bit over the course of this year, and it really has to do with Neptune could be a very spiritual planet, can have a lot to do with your intuition and psychic capabilities, and Mercury in Capricorn, maybe you have an idea ahead of time that somebody's going to contact you about work, and then it ends up happening. So this energy is going to be moving through pretty early in the morning, either around 3 or 6 in the morning. But again, this is going to be on New Year's Day, so a lot of you might still be up communicating with each other at that time. We have Moon in Leo is going to quincunx the Sun and Mercury in Capricorn, and then also that Neptune in Pisces energy. So again, this creative force can be about hidden artistic talents or even hidden romances that might come into play for some of you. But because it's a quincunx, you're going to find that New Year's Day is very active energies that we've been talking about for Thursday the 31st and Friday the 1st. So now on Saturday the 2nd, we're going to see a trine between the moon in Leo is going to trine both Venus and Sagittarius, and then the other fire sign, Mars in Aries. So you've got Mars and Venus also trining each other, because again, these are the fire signs in the zodiac, right? So you've got that occurring on Saturday the 2nd, where you've got the moon and Mars and Venus. Could be a very passionate day. It could be a day where you find yourself getting a lot done. Mars in Aries is a very action-oriented, kind of aggressive energy, actually. But then the moon in Leo is like this creative force coming through. And then Venus in Sagittarius, you've got, romantic feelings, but also finance-minded feelings regarding your higher nature and your higher states, and fostering that energy, fostering your higher vibrations. Along with this, there's going to be a quincunx between the moon in Leo and Pluto in Capricorn. So again, bringing in those energies that we were talking about of endings, but then also things being very undefined in Pluto as it regards your career and long-term things that you do to make money. We're also then going to see the moon entering Virgo on Saturday the 2nd. And when the moon enters Virgo, you're going to get quincunx with Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, as well as Chiron in Aries. So now these moon cycles have kind of split up, whereas we were getting Chiron coming through and then Mars coming through and kind of solidifying energies in relation to whatever the moon placement, the moon transit was. Now what we're seeing is that Mars in Aries is interacting with the moon in a different transit than Chiron in Aries. So, what does this mean? What does it all mean? Well, let me tell you, the moon in Virgo. Virgo's very analytically minded, can have a tendency toward neuroses, but is also very detail-oriented. So, you can see hidden things, like paying attention to details, and hidden things come to light. You could find the illumination of different parts of your daily routines and schedules that maybe you would like to tweak. And so there's going to be this active quincunx energy around this Jupiter and Saturn transit in Aquarius. And again, having to do with groups, groupthink, iconoclastic thinking. And again, that dichotomy between Jupiter as the expansion and Saturn as the concretion. Because again, Uranus would be more like the innovator. And you're also going to have a trine with Uranus and Taurus. So again, could be very good for developing new career paths and goals for 2021. And of course, Chiron in Aries, that energy being healing that part of yourself that starts things and doesn't finish them, or doesn't follow through, or is impatient with things. Excuse me. And then finally on Sunday the 3rd, you're going to see a trine between wraps up all of these transits, all of the energies from those transits in a nice little package, and that's going to happen around 5:45 or 8:45 in the evening of Sunday the 3rd. And now I have to switch over to my other planner. I get a lot of not a lot of questions, but I get questions sometimes about why I start on Wednesday instead of Monday. A lot of forecasts start on Monday, and I like to open up the idea that time is a construct that humans have developed. Our measurements of time are very subjective. Like, the weekend doesn't really mean anything. The only way that your calendar really means anything is if it's following like the actual moon cycles. You know, if you're like on a lunar calendar and you're just strictly counting time by what you're seeing in the sky, obviously day to day that makes sense because the sun rises and falls. And then seasonally it makes sense because the sun in relation to the earth is shifting and causing our weather cycles that way. But I just like for people to be open to that idea that the Gregorian calendar is completely made up. Okay, so Monday the 4th of January 2021. The moon is still in Virgo for most of this day until it enters Libra around like either 9:45 or 12 a.m. 12 on Tuesday the 5th it's going to enter Libra. But before that we've got an opposition with Neptune in Pisces. We also have trine with Mercury and Pluto in Capricorn. And then Mercury and Pluto are obviously conjunct at that time. And then there's also a square with Venus in Capricorn and a quincunx with Mars in Aries. So now we do have coming through the other part of that cycle where we had Chiron in Aries and now Mars in Aries. We're going to get that action taken care of. So that is still coming into play. But this opposition with Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune in Pisces, everything is possible, nothing is forbidden. That kind of makes Virgo uncomfortable. Virgo likes to have everything kind of well defined and plotted out. And the moon in Virgo, of course, things being revealed, things coming to light, possibly hidden things, emotional states. So this opposition could be kind of uncomfortable for those of you who prefer things to be well defined. But that's going to happen really early in the morning of January the 4th. Then with the trines between Mercury and Pluto, which are conjunct in Capricorn. Mercury and Pluto conjunct is an energy of communication, endings, things that are not well defined. So there might be some situations, especially regarding work and career, which Capricorn is a very practically minded sign and has to do with a lot of these professionally oriented energies, right? So there might be some cases where there is communication that is not super well defined. Now, that's okay because it's a trine. Maybe that works out in your favor. Sometimes it's better to apologize than to ask for permission, right? Especially fortuitous is that the Mercury and moon trine is going to be occurring. Let's see if I can show it. At 11:11 a.m. on the west coast of the United States. So for those of you who like 11:11 energy, that's cropping up here. And then we've got this square with Venus and Sagittarius. That's going to be when the moon is void, of course. So the moon's kind of wandering through the sky at this time. Venus and Sagittarius can have to do with finance and romance as they relate to how you elevate the self. So, because we've been dealing with this moon and Virgo energy and hidden things coming to light around daily routines and details in your existence or your health that maybe need to be tweaked, this square could be illuminating things like that for you, and giving you an opportunity to grow. I know people always hate it when a fortune teller or an astrologer or somebody like that is like, oh look, this is going to give you an excellent opportunity to grow. It usually means that something's going to happen that makes you really uncomfortable. But we'll see. We'll see, right? Right, so then the moon enters Libra, and on Tuesday the 5th, we're going to have trines between the moon in Libra and Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. And so this moon in Libra is going to be about emotional parity. It's going to be about hidden things becoming equalized, is what moon in Libra is good for. So Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, there might be something that occurs on Tuesday the 5th that will be good for human rights. We might find something coming through regarding that. There's going to be an opposition between the moon in Libra and Chiron in Aries. So again, this might be any kind of false starts that civil rights has gotten. There might be something that gets... Sorry, I have a hair on my mic. It's distracting me. There might be something that gets ironed out. I'm not making any promises. I'm just telling you what the planets might be predicting. But again, astrology, it's very scientific in some ways, but in other ways, it's open to a lot of interpretation. Most divination, the core, is your own interpretation and the way that your intuition informs your reading of the material present. So there's that to think about. And then at the end of Tuesday the 5th, we've got a quincunx between the moon in Libra and Uranus in Taurus. So it might have to do with some kind of joint property. I know that a lot of things are getting hashed out right now regarding possible relief from the pandemic for the American public, which has been sorely underfunded to this point. That may continue to happen. It may not. We'll just have to let time tell. Alright, finally, we're to Wednesday the 6th. There's going to be a square between the moon in Libra and Sun in Capricorn. So these are cardinal energies. And the moon in opposition. The moon square to the sun. So Libra being, again, about parity, about partnerships, and then Capricorn can be kind of a me first energy. So there's going to be, these hidden injustices coming to light, but then there's also the sun being in Capricorn might promoting more like the business end of things. And because it's a square, that's going to be, kind of a tough energy. There's a quincunx between the moon in Libra and Neptune in Pisces. So again, everything is permitted, nothing is forbidden. That quincunx might cause some kind of action to take place. And we'll just have to see what that is. Use your intuition. And another interesting thing that's going to happen is that Mars, which has been in its native sign of Aries for a while, let's see. Give me just a moment here. So Mars was in Aries. For like a lot of 2020, like going all the way back to June, and it only spent like about a month and a half in Pisces before that. And then in Aquarius, yeah, it spent like a month and a half in Aquarius, but I guess because of retrogrades and stuff, Mars spent a lot of time in Aries last year, or 2020, depends on when you're watching this. So now it's moving into Taurus, which is a fixed earth energy. It's a very like homebody energy. My possessions make me comfortable. They like to have a comfortable lifestyle. And Mars being a very kind of like active, aggressive energy, people are going to be fighting for their right to be comfortable, possibly. We have squares between the moon in Libra and Pluto and Mercury also. So again, more of this idea that there's going to be a conflict between hidden injustices coming to light and what businesses and corporations in America want to see done with pandemic relief. And then finally on Wednesday the 6th, we're looking at a sextile between the moon in Libra and Venus in Sagittarius. So again, very like playful, romantic, finance-minded, self-improvement energy. There's also going to be an opportune period. So after the moon squares Mercury, that's going to happen around like 9:20 in the evening on the west coast, so a little after midnight on the east coast, until the moon is void of course. And that's going to be so between 9:21 and 9:55, so it's a very short opportune period. And again, if you're like in a time zone where it's like late at night, you may or may not choose to take advantage of that. But it'll leave you enough time to wrap up some of your ongoing projects. Hello, Aries. Hello, 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 hello. So for the readings, I'm going to use this chunk of turquoise. It's nice and veiny on the surface. There's some of you are going to be taking part in something that's choreographed. So maybe you are doing like a dance routine. But it doesn't have to be a dance routine. It could be like stage blocking, or I feel flash mob type thing where you are, it could even be part of a protest that you're doing or that you're taking part in. Part of it might be, there might be choreography involved. Not because it's a dance routine necessarily, but you're talking about like your strategy. So like if the cops flank us like this, then we're going to move over here or something like that. I'm getting kind of the sense that that could be the case for some of you. Could be a ritual as well. There's sometimes choreography involved in like some kind of rituals. Seven airs. What, like 7 winds? There's like 7, or it could be 7 Aries. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. But I'm getting more like air energy from it. And like 7, but not like 7 winds, like I'm hearing 7 airs. Is it errors? No, it's airs. Like A-I-R-S. Airs. 7 airs. Is that even a word? And that could be part of the ritual. It could be like an incense thing. Like you have 7 different incenses, and that's the 7 airs. I feel like it's something like the 4 seasons, like a hotel or something. Let me see if there's anything that I can look up about this. Oh, weird. So Seven Airs is a musification site in California. Feature musifications of 7 air quality measurements that are collected from locations around the 35th parallel in California. The air quality data drives musical performances you can hear when you click the logo above or this link. 1 minute of music corresponds to 15 minutes worth of air quality measurements. And that's through Stanford University, so 7airs.com. Let me make sure I make a note of that, because I'd like to put that down in the description box. Take notes for December 30th. Scry. Okay. Alright, so that's one thing. What about 7 airs from the Book of Odes? There's 7 airs of Aragon, which is 8 Basque songs. 8 Basque songs. 8 Basque songs. So 7 airs may have to do with movements in music. Oh, wow. Okay. There's also the airs above the ground or or school jumps. It's a series of higher level haute école classical dressage movements in which the horse leaves the ground. So some of you might be equestrians. I don't know, this is probably going to be super relevant to like one person. But yeah, so I am seeing about choreography, about the 7 airs. And for those of you who are not equestrians, this could be just a metaphor for like this established process that you're going to be taking part in, and it's possible that it has 7 parts to it. So that could be something that is more relevant to the rest of you. What else do I need to tell Aries, sun, moon, or rising about the week ahead? Yeah, because it seems like a weird time of year to do that. A lot of places it's going to be too cold to really be doing stuff outside, but I'm not an equestrian, I don't really know. Maybe purple carnations. So purple is like a regal color, and carnations are a very like, I think it's like a celebratory type of color, and it rhymes with coronation. So, carnation is also the birth flower for those born in the month of January. I don't think they actually come in purple, but they can be dyed different colors. I think they just like clip the stem, and then they put dye in the water, and the flower takes up the dye into its blossom. And in some places, carnations are bad luck. I don't want to get too bogged down by this, but right, so carnation is the flower of the month of January, and this purple color, I think some of you might see your status rising in the month of January, or be encountering regal company. What else do I need to tell Aries, sun, moon, and rising about the week ahead, December 30th to January 6th? Given the current circumstances, you're doing quite well. But it may not feel like it at this time. I know like a lot of people are worried about what's going on, and especially because our government can't get it together to actually support the American people. But it's important to remember the foundation of America is not built on freedom for all. America is really a corporation that was put together to protect the interests of a small group of wealthy landowners. And originally those were the only people who could vote. So people act surprised, but it really isn't surprising. You just have to be more aware of like why the country was founded and what the interests were at the time that the country was put together. What else do I need to tell Aries, sun, moon, and rising about see something governing itself, a self-governing body. That is so weird, but I'm sure that could work. Maybe, is it like AI governing it? No. No, this is not like AI governing something. This is something where all the rules are set into place and all the structures have been established in such a way that even if somebody were to like break the rules or something like that, they would be eliminated from that system in some way. And I don't know quite how to describe that because I've never seen anything like that in action. But it could be something that you end up seeing in action this week, Aries. A self-governing, self-contained system. I don't know if it's a polycule. I don't know if this is a work situation. I guess it could be different for all of you, theoretically. But that's very exciting. And I'd love to hear more about it. So if you do experience something like this over the next week, please let me know in the comments what it was like. Theobromide. God, I am having to run to my phone a lot for this reading, Aries. This is so crazy. Theobromine. It's a bitter alkaloid of the cacao plant. It's found in chocolate. What does it do to humans? It can cause nausea and anorexia. And daily intake of too much cocoa by humans has been associated with sweating, trembling, and severe headache. So, some of you might be eating too much cocoa, and this is not just like chocolate. It's found in chocolate, tea, and cocoa products. Chocolate, tea, and cocoa products. Oh, and it is the compound in chocolate that is bad for dogs. So it's fatal to dogs, even in small doses. So this might be a situation where you start having headaches and you realize that you're eating too much cocoa or consuming too much cocoa, because of course you can put cocoa powder in a lot of different things and it does have great antioxidant properties and other great health properties. But if you find yourself getting nauseous or you're having headaches, you might consider cutting back on the cocoa consumption. For some of you, the theobromine is going to be stimulating your nervous system. You might get like pins and needles in your hands. I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you the messages that I get. Or like numbness. But I'm just giving you like some examples of what you might be noticing. But the diagnostic confirmed symptoms are things like nausea, anorexia, not like in the sense of, but like in the sense of, like not being hungry. So appetite suppressant. And headache. And then obviously being fatal to dogs. What else do I need to tell Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead? sun, moon, and rising for the week of December 30th through January 6th. And one thing that it's important to know about is that Mars is going to be entering your sign on Wednesday the 6th. So keep that in mind. It's been in Aries for a lot of 2020. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. What do I need to tell Taurus about? Tell Taurus. Sun, moon, and rising for the week ahead. Feel like you've been given an opportunity to get away with something, but you didn't take it. That somebody was gonna let you off the hook, and maybe somebody else would have been blamed. And you decided that wasn't how you wanted things to go. And you decided to take responsibility for something that happened. And not necessarily that you were culpable, but maybe because of how you did something, there were repercussions for other people. And it's possible you didn't even foresee that happening. So it's not like you're a bad person or you did something wrong. I think there was just a situation that got out of control, and you were the catalyst for kicking it off. And maybe it needed to happen, but somebody else would have been set up as the fall guy, and you decided to take responsibility for something. This could be a work situation, but it could also be a home life situation for sure. Or a situation with your parents. I feel like for some of you, there's a situation involving your parents where, because you decided to take responsibility for something, you could have gotten off the hook, but instead you decided to take responsibility for something and possibly alleviate culpability for someone else by doing so. You may not even necessarily really like this person, or they don't have to be a friend of yours. You don't have to get along. But maybe you decided to do that because you felt like it was the right thing to do. What else is going on with Taurus, sun, moon, and rising this week? You've been getting a lot of gifts, so I feel like there was also something else that you got, and maybe it was a Christmas present. Luxury item. Not the kind of thing that you would ever buy for yourself, but you're going to use it quite a bit because somebody else did buy it for you. And maybe you got something on it right away. And you're like, how am I going to clean this off? But I don't think that'll be an issue. I think you'll still use it quite a bit. every birthday now, you get a little bit closer. No, not to that. Every birthday now, you get a little bit closer to the point where the time you spend with others on your birthday matters less and less in that specific context. So not that the people around you matter less and less, only that the particular idea of a birthday is, the meaning is dissipating. Yeah, I see it kind of like when you evaporate off liquid from something, like steam into the air. And the reason that this is coming around right now, obviously a lot of people in 2020 didn't celebrate birthdays with a large group of loved ones, but it made you realize that this was something that was losing importance in your life, that there were other ways that you have been marking the progression of time in your life that have much more meaning. And one of those ways is directly related to the new year, and possibly making resolutions or making plans. Maybe you sit down with your day planner and you mark out like all of the stuff that you know is going to be happening over the next year. So that could be part of it too. And you are marking your time in other ways rather than your own personal solar return. And I feel like this is coming up because of Mars being in Taurus. Yeah, so Mars is going to be in Taurus into March. And then early in April, like April 1st, it moves into Gemini. And there's going to be a transformative period for you coming up that kind of marks an age. And I think it's going to coincide with Mars and Taurus, but I don't think it's necessarily tied to that. A lot of the things that will kind of be coming around, obviously, will have started when Mars was in Aries this year. Given the circumspect nature of this particular this is like an internal, given the circumspect nature of this particular evolution of self, a lot of people around you are going to sense imperceptible changes. They'll know that something's different, but they won't know what. Some people, this might make them uncomfortable, and they might distance themselves from you. Other people might see it as a good thing, and they may or may not still distance themselves from you. But the person who's really going to see the greatest benefit, obviously, is going to be you. But other people might not really understand how this change has affected you. So that's going to be something. And that, obviously, this is going to start next week. But this is going to go into 2021. You know, going back to what I was saying about time being relative. When I give these forecasts from week to week, a lot of times things will get established in 1 week. But in order to kind of understand what's going on, maybe I need to give you more information about what's going to happen further down the road so that you understand the events that are currently occurring better. I don't think there was much time for you this year to really be circumspect about a lot of these things that you're going to be analyzing over the next month or month and a half. I think you had really given a lot of thought to other things in the past that were similar, and there's going to be a lot of similar vibrations. And you're going to feel at times that you're kind of like stuck in a loop as far as this thought process is concerned. But I don't think that that's necessarily the totality of it. I think that a lot of these things look similar, but they're very different. And that in order to complete this process, you just have to sit with it and follow it all the way through. Obviously, if you feel like you're caught up in an obsessive thinking loop, there are things you can do about that. Such as meditation, like mindfulness meditation, and kind of taking yourself out of that particular moment. But that's not going to be necessary in this case. What else do I need to tell Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead, December 30th through January 6th? You got extra presents this year. And some of the presents that you received were not like possessions, but rather comforts. Like that somebody, as a gift to you, gave you house cleaning, or somebody gave you a box of cookies, which I guess is a physical gift, but maybe these were like health cookies of some kind. I feel like you got extra gifts this year that were not on your list and were not expected, and also weren't necessarily like tangible objects. Like maybe somebody paid your car insurance for a few months, or what's this about a lien? clean, do your homework. I feel like somebody's got a lien against their vehicle. Yeah, it might not be your car insurance. It might be that somebody paid for a couple of car payments for you, possibly, or the down payment for a new car. So not paying for the car outright. This person also might have, if you were shopping for a car, this person might have helped you do a lot of research about buying a new car. And I'm seeing a car here, but it could be a house, could be some other kind of large purchase where someone might not necessarily give that to you as a gift, but their gift might be that they were helping you out with that. So I feel like there might be something else like that that's going on here as well for some of you. What else do I need to tell Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? I think that covers everything. I hope you have a great week. Hello, Gemini, and welcome to your week ahead. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This will be your forecast for December 30th through January 6th. I will be using this piece of turquoise for scrying today. You've got a lot on your plate. This is not speaking purely about a work situation. This is speaking about, I feel like there could be a lot of family drama going on. And they're counting on you to be the peacemaker, to be the intermediate person in the situation, and that this is putting undue stress and pressure on you. Because I'm also seeing here that, like, a lot of the adults that are tied up in this situation are being really immature. And maybe because you have just, like, slightly more maturity than these people who are involved in this situation, the burden is falling on you at this time to be the mediator. And I think it's just purely because of your communication capabilities. I don't know if it's necessarily like your siblings that are tied up in this too. I feel like it's one generation removed. So like your parents' siblings, either on one side or both sides of the family, are wrapped up in this situation where there's just like bad blood. It could be about something in particular, but it could also be just that they are not properly equipped to exist in adult functional life, and that for whatever reason they kept it under wraps until now. Because I feel like this is a specific situation. It might have cropped up during the holidays, but that this particular generation of people is really not holding it together like they should be, and it's kind of falling on on you to be the mediator and stressful to you. What else do I need to tell Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Yeah, so by saying you've got a lot on your plate, that pulls into mind the imagery of a dinner table with everyone seated around it. And I feel like even sometimes like you're completely silent and everyone around you is just screaming their heads off, whether that's good or bad. It could be a situation where all of your family, like, aside from the drama situation that's going on currently, like maybe they're just really loud and you're not necessarily the loudest. And in some ways that has made you a more effective mediator. But what else is going on for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising? We're heading into January of 2021 now. Given the current climate, it's a wonder that you didn't start this sooner. I don't know what this is. Is this like a life-affirming behavior, or is it a destructive habit? It's going to be different for everyone. So for some of you, there's going to be a life-affirming behavior, like a new exercise regime or a new diet plan. And I say diet not like to lose weight, but mostly just to be healthy. I started doing an elimination diet, and I've felt like a lot better. So it could be something like that, where it's not a diet like I need to lose weight kind of a diet. It's a diet like I want to feel better, and in order to feel better, I am going to eat food that agrees with me and is not a burden to my system. But given the current climate, it's a wonder that you didn't start that sooner. Some of you are going to take up smoking again. If you have quit smoking, you might fall back into that habit. And especially during this time, I think that you held out for a long time because of the pandemic, and how smoking not only makes you more vulnerable to lung infections, but it also really doesn't look good in the climate of a serious respiratory virus going around. So I think that you held out as long as you could, but that some of you are going to fall back into that habit. What else do I need to tell Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? You've given as much as you really need to. There are going to be situations for a lot of you where you really want for the outcome to be a certain way, even if it's not like you have a total laid out game plan. It might just be that you want things to go a certain way for everyone involved, and have been putting like much too much effort into achieving this outcome, and that it's really just going to go a certain way anyway. So if you are watching this reading to find out if a situation is going to be a certain way that you want it to be. The answer is that you have already seen the trajectory that this situation is going to take, and the amount of effort that you put into at this point is going to be superfluous and not have any further effect for or against the situation. What else do I need to tell Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Aside from that they've given enough. You've also been walking on eggshells. There's no need to do that. Just say what you are thinking. Just come right out and say it. And, people won't mind. People won't mind because you're not. One of the reasons that those of you who have been stuck in this mediator role, one of the reasons that that has happened is that you are not a involved party in this situation, and therefore, because you're an outsider and objective to it, people are more likely to respect your opinion. Especially if you're not involving yourself in the conflict aspect of it, you can make your opinion known without belaboring the point. And it's possible that people will hear you more than they would hear other people who are directly involved in this situation. But will that fix everything? Probably not. But you've already given enough energy to this. You can't be expected to be the peacemaker in every situation when it crops up. And therefore, it's important for you to conserve your own energy. Like, don't just give your energy away to people, especially in situations like this where they have already proven that they cannot be prudently trusted to spend that energy in an efficient and smart way. But it's taken a lot for you to get to this point where you are now with this situation that you can voice your own opinion about it. So that's important and that's good. And it will help the situation if you're able to voice your opinion. What else do I need to tell Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? I think that's it. Have a great week. Drink lots of water. Get lots of good sleep. Hello, Cancer. Cancer. And welcome to your forecast for the week ahead. This is going to be December 30th through January 6th. Alright? So, taking us on into the new year. And first of all, what I would like to mention, there's a crack appearing in your perfect facade. You have this idea of how everything in your life is going great, and it is. Everything is going great, but I feel like the pressure of that is creating cracks in the surface of this ideal fantasy. And really, if you look at the situation, everything's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's not immediate danger necessarily. Of course, that's not going to be true for all of you, but I feel like for a lot of you, things have been really great, and you're starting to get kind of nervous because things have been great for a while for you. Or things have been like stable or steady. Things have kind of like evened out, and so you're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Yeah, for some of you things have been great. For some of you, probably not so much, but they've been stable. And now you're starting to feel like you might see something right around the corner that is going to bring danger to your doorstep. He really didn't walk right by you there. He stopped for a minute and he turned and looked at you before it happened. And you could see in his eyes what he was planning. Not the specifics, but I feel like he was giving you a moment to like a head start if you wanted to run away. But you didn't. You kind of just stood there and stared him down. And he asked you what you were doing there. And you said, I have just as much right to be here as you do. And there might be a physical altercation between you and another person in this upcoming week. A stranger, or like maybe not a stranger, but like a neighbor, somebody that you don't really know. This is not an interpersonal conflict between you and someone that you see all the time. This is somebody that kind of catches you off guard and catches you by surprise. And I know that's not a very ASMR thing for me to say. Please do make sure you watch your other placements to get more information about the upcoming week. That is kind of unfortunate when I end up saying things that are kind of stress-inducing. Is there any way for Cancer to avoid this situation? Yeah. This person is going to give you an opportunity to walk away. And you should take that opportunity. Don't turn your back on them. If they avoid this conflict once, will this person confront them again? It's possible, but not likely. I feel like you're catching this person at a bad time. And that, they wouldn't necessarily do this if they wouldn't necessarily be violent if they were in a different space. This person's not like a serial killer, they're just crazy, basically. Will Cancer be able to avoid this situation altogether? It would require too much advanced planning on your part to avoid this person. But if you see people out and about and you get a weird vibe off of them, it's perfectly okay to like duck into a nearby store or turn the corner or something like that to avoid confrontation. I feel like this person, you're going to be able to see it like in their mirrors, from pretty far off. This is something you can easily avoid if you choose to do that and not make a stand. I don't think that that's the right thing to do in this particular situation, but I feel like for whatever reason, whether this person lives in your building or whether this is a particular street or something that you walk down all the time, you might be tempted to make a stand because you feel like if you don't, who will? And if you don't, then it's going to escalate and become more of a problem. But I don't think that's the case here. I think that this person has this particular situation because of this one day, and not exacerbating it will be your best course of action. And maybe take a different road, take a different path. Sometimes we get into our established routines and we don't think about how those routes intersect with other people. But this might be an opportunity for you to try out a new way of getting to work, or a new routine of some kind. I don't think that this person's targeting you because they see you at a certain time every day. I think it's pretty random, even though it's going to feel like they're targeting you. It's not personal. What else do I need to tell Cancer? Sun, moon, and rising. Yeah, they pose a threat for sure, but I think it's possible to avoid the situation. What else do I need to tell Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? feel like there's an industry that's starting up now. And there's going to be the potential for you to profit off of this. It's going to be a brand new way of doing things. So similar to things that have come before it, but also quite different, so that new systems are being put into place and new ideas are being spread around. What is this in direct reference to? Some of you, it has to do with drawing. That art is going to be commodified in a different way. Not just art, like music, all kinds of different media are going to be commodified in a different way moving forward than they have been in the past. And this is going to be partially because of the pandemic having altered so many of the systems that were in place. And really, it had gotten to a point where it's very difficult to make money off of art. But I think that moving forward, there's going to be new ways of doing things, and I can't totally elaborate on that at this time. The way that publications are put out and paid for, like subscriptions, are going to become a thing of the past for a lot of publications. Like the New York Times and stuff like that, if you click on articles on their site, it pulls up and it says, hey, you should subscribe. You can only read this number of articles a month. And I feel like there's going to be a way in which information becomes much more readily available, but that there's much more money flowing into those media outlets as well. And I'm not quite sure how that works, but it sounds good. What else do I need to tell Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising about that epiphany? I think there's some situation where you're getting pretty worked up over nothing, possibly. In that a lot of the things that are happening right now, there's not, moving forward, the precedent will be changed. The precedent will be different. The precedent and the president. But a lot of systems are going to be shifted. And it's always going to be in the interest of commerce. But that things are going to move around, and there will be income streams flowing for people again, and especially in the arts. What else do I need to tell Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising? I think that's it for you this week, Cancer. Have a good week, and I'll see you again soon. Hello, Leo. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. So, this will be the weekly forecast for December 30th through January 6th for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Did put on a hoodie. What do I need to tell Leo about the week ahead? You've been given extra time. So this isn't borrowed time, but extra time that you've been given. And this is to take care of things, projects that you're working on. This is a good opportunity for you to get a lot of projects wrapped up. I feel like the time that you have been given is specifically for these projects. Whatever that project is to you. Getting that wrapped up and moving forward. Because there's going to be like a rocket launch into the stratosphere. I feel like a lot of us Leos have been kind of preparing for a jump. Like, not like a time skip, but like a, between dimensions. Like, so one thing that people ask for a lot on this channel is, spell work. And I do a little bit of that, but most of how I manifest the things that I want, little mundane stuff, I mostly just use sigil magic. But then when I'm actually looking to manifest like an entirely different life for myself, or a different destiny for myself, I use more like, some people would call it hyper sigils, but basically you're creating this alternate reality, and then when the time is right, when the two realities intersect, you can cross over into that other reality and thus manifest the future and the outcomes that you desire. Now, does this damage the reality that you leave behind? Well, no, it's not exactly like that. It doesn't exactly work that way. Basically, every time you shift your perception, you have the potential to cross between two different realities. I experience this a lot every time I go to sleep. I actually have a lot of anxiety about going to sleep because I don't know where I'm going to be when I wake up. So some of you might have similar anxieties, and hopefully you'll find some solace in knowing that you're not alone and that it's not that strange of a fear to have. But more importantly, you can actually use that liminal space jump to create a different destiny for yourself. And I think one such jump is coming up. So anything that you're trying to finish here in this reality, you're going to have time to do that. Now, are you going to feel like things are being drawn out? It's possible that you might feel like, I don't belong here anymore. It's possible you could feel like things are moving too slowly. But that might not necessarily be the case. In this case, you might just be focused on these other things that you have going on. And then when you get all of that wrapped up, then it will be time. Time to get on the rocket ship. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are dragging your feet, or that this thing is not going to happen, or that you're the one holding the situation back. I think rather than seeing it as you holding the situation back, it's you are allowing things to unfold in their natural time, rather than trying to force the issue. But that also you are being given the time that you will need to wrap up certain things. And it's not for me to tell you like what things it is that you need to check off your list in order to get the ball rolling forward, because it's not really like that either, right? These existences are already running parallel, and at any point you can kind of just skip over. I don't think you're holding yourself back. I really want to make that distinction clear, that this is not a situation where you are holding yourself back. There are things that, for whatever reason, you need to finish, projects, even evolutionary states. That could be part of it too. For some of you, it definitely is. For some of you, there are projects going on inside yourself that you need to complete before it's going to be time. It doesn't mean that you're not ready right now. It's just how the natural state of affairs is. What else do I need to tell Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Give yourself extra time to do things. If you can start something the day before, do. If you can take care of things early, give yourself that extra head start, because it will benefit you in the long run. Again, we're not talking about borrowed time here, but you do want to get these things done in a reasonable amount of time so that you can move forward. And that's the key. That is the key to your success. Other than that, I see that you're very grateful for a lot of the things that you do have. So this is definitely a combined energy that you simultaneously are grateful for the things you have received, and also looking forward to this thing in the future. And you can be very grateful for things that you already have and still be in a situation that's not your ideal. So that's kind of what we're talking about here, is taking things from whatever the situation is now into the future. And a lot of these things will carry forward, especially as we're talking about new energies between you and other people. So, not that you're going to lose friends necessarily, but that you're going to see a shift in your friend group, and maybe you start talking to other people more and some other people less. And it's not bad, it's not unhealthy. It's just some people drifting apart and some people drifting close together. I don't think that there's going to be any moments where you have a definitive falling out with somebody. It's just going to be a slight shift in your social circles. And especially during this time when a lot of the communication is taking place remotely, either phone or text or email or on social media. Yeah, you're just going to see some shifts there. And it's not really good or bad. It's just it's a symptom of what is going on with you overall. This person had a heart attack. Was this recent? It wasn't all that long ago. Is this something that's going to happen to someone this week? That somebody's going to have a heart attack? No. I think that there is possibly someone close to you, whether it's a parent or a spouse or even a close friend. Someone may have had a heart attack, and it's leading you to become more compulsive about your health habits. Like in a bad way? No, but borderline obsessive. Is this what Leo needs to do right now? So it won't last for very long. It won't be like you have an ongoing obsession with maintaining good health. I think that just in this time, for some of you, there could be somebody who is close to you, and they ended up having a heart attack, and because of that, you're going to be extra vigilant about your own personal health. I feel like for some of you, they didn't want you to find out that they had a heart attack. Again, we're talking about remote communication. So, it might be something that was kept from you, and then you find out much later. And you would have wanted to have supported them. You would have wanted to help out. And now the moment for that has passed. And I didn't want to worry you, you know. That would be why they wouldn't have told you up front. That's going to be something that some of you are going to deal with this week. It wasn't an accident, you know, it wasn't accidental that they didn't tell you. It was something that was actively kept from you. But possibly because there was nothing for you to have done, they just decided to keep it from you so you wouldn't worry. Can't help but feel like some of this might have to do with this evolution that because things are shifting and changing, your relationships with people around you are shifting and changing, that perhaps while they might have told you before, because of how you are now, they've decided not to. And that's a reflection not of any toxic energy on your part, but almost quite the opposite, that you have established this kind of bubble where everything's great for you. And if you haven't established this bubble yet, that's kind of what you've been working on. What else do I need to tell Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Yeah, just that you're being given an extra modicum of time. But that you're already focused on your goals. It's not like you need to focus more. You just need to keep doing what you're doing. But know that the future is already here. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Virgo. And welcome to your week ahead. This will be for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week of December 30th through January 6th. So we're getting ready to move into 2021. Something about an archipelago. Maybe some of you have a trip that you take every year, and it happens around this time. And so obviously you're not going to be taking it at this time. But archipelago, I also feel like that this archipelago is kind of like a representation of your current living situation. So that there's like the way that your living situation is set up is that there's a number of peripheral elements to whether you live in a place and you have like a few roommates, or you spend a lot of time in your apartment, but you also spend time like down the street at the coffee shop, and you consider that kind of like part of your living quarters as well. And maybe possibly like you have an office, and that's also part of this archipelago, if you will, of living situations. And you could be looking at ways to consolidate that, especially considering how everything is going with the pandemic. And that you need to find ways to consolidate this scattering of your energies. And some of you, this archipelago, the idea of the archipelago is that you have a few different interests, and you kind of circle around the interests and then you come back to this spot or this spot or this spot. And so you're not expending your energy in a like, it's not like you're expending excess energy in an unwise fashion. It's like just that you might be finding ways to consolidate some of these interests and combine them and unify that territory in your life. To put it in very colonial terms. Sorry. I'm just seeing this this idea of this archipelago, and it's the archipelago of Virgo. And you, the Virgo sun, moon, or rising, then kind of, you know, dipping over here, and it's got structure to it. There's an infrastructure there. There's definitely unifying concepts behind it. So it's not like you're just scattered all over the place, and maybe to some people it would look that way. But certainly is not the case. But I do think that over the next week, and especially leading up to the new year, you're going to be evaluating the paths between all these different islands of interest. You're also going to be consolidating. Like if you have a 3-bedroom worth of hobbies and interests, you could be consolidating that down into a 1-bedroom or a studio. And that might be a metaphor for other things in your life as well, that you end up consolidating and recombining things. How can I put these two things together so they take up less space overall and are more unified? That's going to be a theme for you over the next week and on into the beginning of 2021. What else do I need to tell Virgo, sun, moon, and rising about the week ahead? Someplace has granite countertops. Granite countertops. Granite countertops. Granite countertops. Granite countertops. Granite countertops. What's important about the granite countertops? Very hard. You could break a plate if you drop it. You might not be thinking about how unforgiving stone countertops are, and end up dropping a plate or something a little too hard and it breaks. What else? What else is tied up in that? Is that it? Just that you might be accident prone in the kitchen? You can use a knife on a granite countertop, but it's not advisable. It can dull the knife as well as scratching the countertop. Something reckless is going to be going on. And I don't feel like, that's not very, in line with Virgo energy, right? But it seems like there could be somebody who's doing something reckless, like using a knife on a granite countertop, and you are observing them doing this, and it's like turning your gut. It's making you really nervous. So there could be something like that coming up over the next week. And you have to be the one, even though maybe it's not even your countertop. In some cases, it could be that you're over at someone else's house and it's their countertop to scratch and dent and their knives to dull. And it still makes you very viscerally uncomfortable that they would behave this way with such disregard for their own possessions. Especially if you are in this mindset of, recombining your own possessions, recombining your own interests, your own thoughts, your own ideals, consolidating them, repackaging them. Seeing someone behave in this certain kind of way could make you extra uncomfortable during this time. But it's more than that. It could be that this person understands fully that this behavior makes you very uncomfortable. And rather than cater to your personality, they're just going to disregard that. And maybe it makes you feel like maybe I can't trust this person to look out for my best interest. And that might very well be the case. For some of you, for others of you, even though this person is behaving in this way, it's not necessarily that they can't be trusted. They know full and well that this bothers you. They understand that. And that doesn't mean that they can't be trusted, because when it really comes down to it, they're always going to look out for the mutual best interest, but may occasionally have disregard for your comfort in situations. So it's going to be something like that. If it's not a knife on a granite countertop, it's going to be something like that. We're not exactly talking a knife on a nonstick pan here. We're talking about a knife on a granite countertop. Something that will make you uncomfortable, but it's not really palpable the same way a knife on a nonstick pan would be. Granite countertops. What else do I need to tell Virgo? Sun, moon, and rising about the week ahead. You could be picking up an infection, like a sinus infection, that causes you stress. For obvious reasons, you could think, obviously you might be susceptible to symptoms like loss of smell and taste, and other things, and so it might just be a bacterial sinus infection, but you're afraid that it's much worse. And that's going to be for some of you, and it could just be allergy related too. So make sure before you freak out about anything, just make sure you get tested and know exactly what's going on with you, because it may or may not be very serious. It could just be a run-of-the-mill wintertime sinus infection. And we take for granted now that things are treatable, ailments-wise, but a lot of ailments really aren't treatable. Like a sinus infection, you could take antibiotics, but unless it's really, really bad and it's not clearing on its own. It's probably better to just let it run its course and let your body fight it off. Taking antibiotics is not the best course of action in a lot of different situations, only insofar as your body is not able to fight off the infection on its own. Just make sure that you keep a clear head, even though obviously you have a sinus infection. It's hard to keep a clear head then. But stay objective about what could be going on, rather than assuming the worst. And this could be a sinus infection, but for some of you this could just be a situation where, I'm really getting like these recurring themes, like, watching somebody cut stuff on a granite countertop, getting a sinus infection and thinking maybe it's something much worse. So it could be that there are going to be some neuroses that you are falling victim to this week. Is there anything else that I need to tell Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Get plenty of sleep, plenty of exercise if you're able to do that safely. Drink lots of water, and just take care of yourself during this time. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Libra. Hello, 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 hello. This is going to be your weekly forecast for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead, December 30th to January 6th. So, Libra, what is in store for you for the week ahead? Some of you might have some stomach upset over the next week. I think it's related to food you're eating. I don't think that you're actually coming down with a stomach bug unless you are getting food poisoning from something. It's okay to clean out your refrigerator. It's better to throw something away than for you to get sick. I feel like somebody needs to hear that. Alright, to clear that, I dropped the turquoise. It's not just you either, like all of you in your household might have eaten some of this and thought like, oh geez, are we all coming down with a stomach bug? But it's actually just food poisoning of some kind. There's gonna be like that one person who ate it and didn't get sick. And for some of you, this could be a food item, but for others of you, I feel like there's some other environmental factor that this could be equivalent to. So like it could have to do with air quality or something like that as well. Now, what else do I need to tell Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead? December 30th through January 6th. You don't get a lot of time off, and so this week between Christmas and New Year's, I feel like is going to be an anomaly for you. And I would encourage you to just lounge out and not try to get too much stuff done, but rather just enjoy your time. If there are things that you do feel like accomplishing, certainly, I do encourage you to do anything that your heart desires during this time, but that it might be a good time to catch up best. Because I do feel like for some of you it is an anomaly for you to get this much time off all lined up like this. But for others of you, there's going to be the potential for slacking off in other regards. Just what I said. Like maybe you're expected to do some kind of project around the house, and you end up not accomplishing it because you only get this certain amount of time off. Maybe it's a good idea to have a very serious conversation with the person who signed you up for that in the first place, and figure out what their disregard for your own personal time is rooted in. You know, it could be a parent, it could be a spouse, it could be a roommate. Somebody might be expecting from you that you're going to dedicate time to doing a certain thing, and you straight up come out and say, no, this is my time. I don't get very much time off, and I don't feel like doing that with it, and you can't make me. And I understand that you had wanted to get this done, but it's really not up to you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the kind of situation where they will find a way to get it done on their own. And you having established this boundary with them will be a healthy boundary for future situations. Obviously, neither of you mean the other any ill will, and I think as long as you're approaching it from that point of view, and not like you're trying to ruin my life, or you're meddling in my business, everything should go smoothly, and they'll understand and they'll respect your boundaries. Turkey gravy, or a turkey with gravy. It could be that some of you had this prepared from Christmas. Oh gosh. I wonder if that was what was. It might have been that got undercooked. So just be very careful. Make sure that your temperature in your oven is up to the temperature that it needs to be, and that if you're cooking poultry in your oven, that it's getting cooked all the way through. Because I feel like it could be that there were leftovers for a week and they got left out or something like that. Just be very careful with your leftovers, especially any leftovers that are meat. I certainly don't judge. I eat meat occasionally. We mostly do not eat meat in our house, but that's just a practical measure, because meat doesn't keep as long as a lot of other things. But occasionally I'll get a rotisserie chicken or some cans of tuna or something like that. Most of the time we just don't keep meat around the house. Septuagenarian. So a lot of the baby boomers now are septuagenarians. And I feel like you could be dealing with some people in that age bracket in the week ahead. In what context? is quite a bit older than you is telling you what to do, but they're not, they have no authority to do so. So this is not a family member. This would be separate from this other situation that we were discussing earlier. This could be somebody that you just run into out in public and they start interfering in your business. There is a generic name that has been given to people like this in social media. But I think that this is a little bit different. I don't think that I think that most of you Librans are very concerned about your own personal health and the health of those around you, and are wearing proper PPE, which is personal protective equipment, when you go out in public. But perhaps not everyone around you is doing that. And it could be that you get into a verbal altercation with somebody about refusal to wear personal PPE items in public. It could be about that, but it could also just be something like, that's my shopping cart. No, it's not. All of these are items that I picked out. Something ridiculous. And it could be that this person just acts in a really ridiculous way. I think a lot of us have forgotten how to act when we go out in public. I know that's certainly been the case for me, but I choose to default to being quiet and trying to maintain my own personal bubble and not trying to interfere with others. But a lot of other people, and this is why shows like Jerry Springer and a lot of the daytime court TV dramas, where they show like small claims court, a lot of people really wish that they had more of that in their own lives to make them more interesting. And you might find yourself encountering someone like that over the next week. But just don't react. Just don't react to this person at all. I feel like you'll probably be in the right as far as like if there are rules that are supposed to be followed inside an establishment or a place of business, that you will probably be in the right, and someone else will come along and be like, excuse me, but if you do not leave, I'm going to have to call the authorities. And you just kind of can put your hands up and say, look, I don't want any trouble here. I really don't. Is there anything else I need to tell Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising? Oh, okay, so also avoiding, now this isn't going to work for all of you, avoiding retail stores, going out any more than you have to. That will help some of you, but I understand that probably a lot of you work in retail. And so this situation might be cropping up because this person is coming into a store where you work. And especially after the holidays, people want to return items and may or may not have receipts. There's also, just other kinds of behavior, and I do feel like this ties in with what I was saying before, that that you really can't be bothered this week, that you're really not going to be putting yourself out there any more than you have to the week between Christmas and New Year's, so that even if you do have a job where you have to work during that week, that you might be taking a this conversation, just so that both of us will be clear and be accurately represented, in this situation. I'm doing this, kind of phrase it like I'm doing this for your benefit, so that if we have to show this to a manager or a police officer, that both of us are accurately represented. Just don't react to them. It's not worth it. I mean, I don't feel like you're going to be inclined to react to them, honestly, because it's going to be so ridiculous. But you may end up in this kind of situation over the next week. What else do I need to tell Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising? And or Rising about the week ahead, December 30th through January 6th. I think that's it for you for this week, Libra. Take care of yourself, get lots of good rest, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Scorpio. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This will be your forecast for the week ahead, for December 30th through January 6th. So this is carrying us into the new year of 2021. Now, what does Scorpio have to look forward to? Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead. There's gonna be a gift exchange. I feel like they might be doing a gift exchange at your place of work. And it's like one of those things where everybody brings a present, and then everyone who brought a present gets like a number, and then either the number corresponds to a package, or you're gonna do like a dirty Santa type thing. And I feel like this is happening very late in the season, at this particular place of business. And it might have to do with Boxing Day. So while, let me just make sure, I feel like there's a Boxing Day that's going to be occurring this week. Hold on. Because I think there are like a few different Boxing Day. Yeah, so Saturday, December 26th. But I feel like there's something else to do with that. It could be on the following Monday after December 26th, but I also feel like, hold on. Like it might not be directly related to that particular date. But I feel like, in order to keep it, possibly, this was in order to keep it neutral. Kwanzaa's still going on for those of you who celebrate Kwanzaa. But I feel like in order to keep it neutral, and because there's that space between Christmas Day and New Year's that's about a week long, I feel like that date was chosen because it was in between there, and there wouldn't be like a lot going on at your place of work. It could also be in a friend group that you've decided to get together with some friends, safely of course, or that you figured out a way to do a gift exchange with a group of friends, and that is going to be occurring this week as opposed to before Christmas. So that might be going on for some of you. And anticipating getting a gift like this, but it ends up being really useful. Whether it's like a tire inflation pump, or like a flashlight, or, you know, one of those really utilitarian gifts that kind of gets passed around in a friend group, sometimes like a screwdriver set or something like that. You might be getting something like that in a gift exchange this week. Or it could even be like if you have regular clients that you didn't see them before the holidays and you're like squeezing in appointments with people this week and they end up giving you a present like that. What else? Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising for the week ahead. Something about a game room. Like maybe you're a gamer and you get like a new gaming setup, or you add to your current gaming setup and you're able to, maybe you got like another monitor, or maybe you got like a separate GPU for your computer so you can process graphics better. I don't know how games work. I don't play video games really. They stress me out a lot. Honestly, anytime I have to jump and get on a platform, I hate that. If I have to run from a robot that's shooting at me, that's not my idea of a good time. Personally, I did like Pokemon a lot because it was, you know, like that kind of exchange of gameplay in the battles. So it wasn't necessarily based on how fast you could hit the button. It was based on like how you had calculated what hit points different moves had. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, you could be getting something new for your gaming setup that makes it a lot more fun for you and enjoyable. What else? What else is going on for Scorpio this week? I feel like there might be like some after holiday sales, like end of year sales and stuff too. Like I'm sensing that you're in a very acquisition oriented mind frame at this particular time. I don't know if there's anything specifically that is triggering this, or if it's just like now that the holidays have passed and you know what you've gotten for Christmas, you're able to go back and fill in like whatever gaps. Like, oh, I got this toy but it needs batteries, so now I buy the batteries. Something like that. And there's like certain elements of like the exchange part with other people that is like this elaborate ritual for all of you to interact with each other, so that it's not necessarily like you would talk to each other anyway, but like the fact that you have this structured activity of the gift exchange provides like a framework, and it gives you something to talk about, and it gives you something to interact about, and it gives all of you a framework to express your affection and friendship for each other. So I think that there could be something like that going on this week as well. So I'm hearing like a phrase, like how you would say, don't put the cart before the horse, right? But instead I'm hearing it phrased like, don't put your nose before your face. But that doesn't make sense because the nose would get somewhere before your face would. But like, I don't know, maybe it's a situation where you really like the face, but something about the way your nose is shaped has always kind of irked you, or you feel like it didn't fit your face. And so rather than don't put your nose before your face. Like looking a gift horse in the mouth maybe would be a better like maybe your nose is shaped that way for a reason. That like if your nose were narrower, your septum would collapse or something like that. That maybe it's not a good idea to reshape your nose. Of course, they have other ways of reshaping the nose now too, that like sometimes if you have a bump in your nose, they'll actually inject filler on either side and it'll make your nose appear smaller just because the shape is different. So consider that as well. There can be like things that aren't as invasive, but also keep in mind one thing that I've been hearing about the vaccine that's coming out for COVID-19 is that it can cause adverse reactions with facial fillers. So keep that in mind. And they were talking about facial fillers that people received both before and after. But I think that there's probably a span of time. So like if you got fillers like a year or two ago, they're probably not talking about that. They're talking about like maybe 6 months on either side. But I invite you to be an informed consumer and look into that on your own, because I'm not a doctor. I'm only parroting back what I've heard in the news. But that could be part of it too. Don't put your nose before your health, basically. Maybe this is something that you should wait on, just until everything else gets sorted out. But that's only going to be for like a handful of you. What else do I need to tell Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising? I'm hearing parade or brigade. Yeah, like some kind of triumphal procession. Now, obviously, this is not something that is occurring, like, physically in a downtown space. Although, I guess, like, the Macy's Day Parade, Macy's Christmas Day Parade, or whatever, I don't know, parades or whatever, like, I think they've still been doing events like that, but just not having a crowd and televising it on the internet, or broadcasting it on the internet. So it might be something like that, where there is a triumphal procession that you are taking part in, or that is in your honor, but is broadcast online rather than having people there live to see it. What else do I need to tell Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? I think that's it for you for this week, Scorpio. Have a great week. Get lots of good rest. Stay hydrated. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Sagittarius. Hello, 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 hello. And welcome to your forecast for the week ahead, December 30th through January 6th. This will be for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What are we looking for in the week ahead? Gift giving was a lot for you this year, and that could be good or it can be bad. Obviously, you want to be giving and receiving gifts in a healthy and balanced way. And I think there was a lot of that for you this year, but there's also a lot just in general surrounding the holiday season. Now you'll be able to kind of relax a little bit. Is that the case? Yeah, most of you are going to be able to relax quite a bit moving forward into the next year. Playground. Working on a playground. Working on a playground. So what that could mean for some of you is actually being hired to build a playground, or building a playground on your own property. It could also have to do with the idea that you might be working in a place where other people go to play. So that could be a club, that could be, I guess depending on what's open right now, probably be an outdoor type place. Or it could be something that, like you could be a moderator in a video game, or a Discord chat, or you could be the dungeon master in D&D. It could be something like that, where other people are doing this purely as play, but for you there's a financial component to it as well. Now, what else are we looking at here for Sagittarius moving forward into the month ahead? Crystal clear. Something is going to become, something was very muddy before, and it's going to become crystal clear. Sorry, we got Sam Eagle cruising overhead. Sorry about that. It can be quite robust sometimes. This situation could have to do with your love life. It could also have to do with another interpersonal relationship, but I think a lot of you Sagittarius who are coupled, and this can be good or it can be, the end of the relationship. Sometimes the end of the relationship is good, it's for the best. But I think for a lot of you in your relationships, there's going to be something that was very muddy and unclear. And especially Venus is in your sign right now, so that is going to be illuminating the relationship sectors of your life, and also somewhat finance, right? Because Venus does have to do with money as well. We're not looking at the same kind of expansion of wealth like you see with Jupiter, but you will see some very distinct differences. So that's important to keep in perspective. Some of you who have your Saturn in Aquarius are in your Saturn return right now. And this is coming up specifically in the Sagittarius reading, although probably quite a few people have their Saturn return going on right now. And this is important because along with that Venus being in your sign, if you're also going through your Saturn return right now, and with Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, all of those things are going to be predicting certain paths opening up in your life, opening up or closing off to you. Venus is going to be in your sign until, Friday the 8th. So, this reading going from December 30th to January 6th. Venus wasn't in your sign for a terribly long time. Before that, it was in Scorpio. But this might be a time that exceptionally lights up those relationship sectors, and any relationships that you're in that there's things going on that are not sustainable long term. Those things are going to come up at this time. So that's something to consider. All factors combined shows that you have a productive start to the new year. And I think, along with those of you who are having a Saturn return in Aquarius, but I'm getting this for Sagittarius in general as well, there's going to be more of a focus on groups rather than one-on-one individual situations. And you might not be super sociable. That's the word I was looking for. But I also was hearing the word specifically personable. So I was searching for the word sociable, but what I was being told was personable. What does that mean? Well, just that, like, you might not be putting on pleasantries for other people at this time. They might be affording you greater leeway socially, so that during this time maybe people kind of see you as a loving curmudgeon type and accept that about you, and are not ostracizing you or anything else of that sort due to perceived coldness on your part. So, not that people are cutting you slack in that area, but they're openly accepting that about you and being very and fostering that behavior. So if you have a friend group that you end up breaking up with somebody, for example, during this time, your friends might be like, oh, forget that person. You don't need a relationship to be happy. You can just be happy with us all the time. And maybe that's true. You know? It's going to be up to you to look deep within yourself and figure out what it is that you want out of close companionship. And figure out whether or not you really want close companionship. You know, maybe you don't want to be responsible for another person day in and day out. Maybe you do. That's going to be up to you to decide. And maybe there's 3 more energy bars, entities. There's 3 more energetic. So kind of like the Three of Cups tarot card represents our close companionships with other people. Can represent a polycule if you're polyamorous. But can also just represent a close-knit friend group. And I feel like there's an energy exchange with at least 3 other people that is validating you at this time. What else do I need to tell Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Given all of the context of all the things above, it's about time that you get off your front porch and onto your lawn. And maybe you've been quite a homebody this year. A lot of us have, for good reason. And this is encouraging you to put yourself out there a little bit more, even if it's just contacting people online and calling your friends. But, reaching out to others for success, not because you need anything, but reaching out for success. That's kind of what I'm hearing. Reaching out for success. Like a mutual success. I'm hitting you up because I heard about this thing and I thought we could do it together and do a really good job. Something like that. Is there anything else I need to tell Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising at this time? I think that's it. Look forward to getting ahead in 2021. And I'll see you again very soon. Hello, Capricorn. Welcome back, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is going to be the reading for December 30th through January 6th. I have turquoise today. And, yeah, that's too bright. I'll just use my other flashlight. I like to shine the flashlight at it. I might, if I can figure out a good way to get the camera pointed downward for the video, I may decide to do scrying where the camera angle also shows the stone, but because I'm focused on the scrying aspects of it, it's hard for me to keep the stone in frame. So if I find out a way to do that, I might, but overall I'm mostly conveying the messages. And I feel like there's going to be a situation for you in this next week that's kind of analogous to that, where the most faithful translation is not going to be the most visually dazzling. And it's going to be this could be a memory of your past, that you remember it being very vivid and remember it, remember how you felt, remember all of the, what you were wearing maybe, all the details surrounding it, very vivid to you, but then in repeating the events that actually took place, that perhaps it doesn't translate as your memory. It translates as like this very cut and dry series of events, and not quite as interesting as you remember. For some of you, this is going to be very mundane. You're going to be in the middle of telling somebody this story, and you're going to finish telling the story, and you're going to realize that was really kind of boring for this other person to listen to. But for me, this event was, life-shattering, earth-changing, even if not to that extent. Like, I remember this event being, very, like, this opened me up in so many different ways. But if I tell someone else about it, the telling is not, the map is not the territory, I say that all the time, but the telling is not the totality of the way that I felt, what I was wearing, what they were wearing, what this other person was wearing, the costume design involved, the pantsuit. Somebody was wearing a pantsuit that was just incredible. And I didn't realize at the time that it wasn't a pantsuit at all. But somehow the telling of those events is nowhere near as exciting as the remembering of the situation. And you might be reconciling that as it relates to something from your past. Of course, it doesn't even have to be that serious of a situation. It could have just have been casual, like maybe I saw my favorite rap artist walking down the street, and I waved at them and they waved back. That's not a very exciting story, even if the person you're telling also very much enjoys that person's music. That's just kind of a thing that happens sometimes between people. But to you, that could have been the pinnacle of that week, or the pinnacle of that year, or the nadir. Now, this could have been a really horrible situation that you endured, and because of your frame of mind, it made it much worse than it already was. And in the retelling to other people, you realize that it was a very common experience, and that it's something that a lot of people have to go through. So that could be for some of you Capricorns this week. Some of you are going to be having birthdays, so to all of my Capricorns out there who are having a birthday this week, Capricorn sun signs, I do wish you a happy birthday, and I hope that it's a good one, and I hope you stay safe. Some of you might be going out just to get one slice of cake. And if you are doing that, I hope you'll be safe. I think you will. I feel like some of you are actually going to be sitting down outside restaurants to eat a piece of cake in public. I hope you enjoy, if you're choosing to do that. Some of you might be ordering a slice of cake to be delivered to you from like Postmates or Uber Eats or something like that as well. But I am very much getting like the light, fluffy texture of a cake with frosting for some of you. So I think some of you really are going to be celebrating your birthday as much as you can, considering the circumstances. Grave? This is a grave situation. This is a grave and dire turn of events. What could that be? What is that about? A grave and dire turn of events. Is this an sensationalizing? That's not typical for Capricorn. There's going to be kind of a letdown. Because, of course, Jupiter and Saturn that were in your sign for a lot of this year are now going to be in Aquarius. And even if that energy was oppressive to you, there's going to be kind of an energy shift associated with that, and I feel like it could be kind of a letdown energetically, that even if things were quite harsh energetically, that the absence might be just as noticeable. What else do I need to tell Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising? Turn of events. Why do I keep hearing something about a grave and a dire turn of events? The grave and dire turn of events from this year, 2020, which was a very Capricorn-centered year. We had quite a few planets in Capricorn over the course of the year, and Pluto is still in your sign, and Mercury's in your sign right now. So there was quite a bit going on in the sign of Capricorn this year. I think also eclipses? Hold on. Eclipses in the sign of Capricorn? There was a lunar eclipse back in July in Capricorn. The eclipses were in Cancer, which is your opposite sign. But some of you are going to be relating to this energy as having been very dark, very oppressive, and very out of character for your state of being. Capricorns can be very practically minded and cynical and very pragmatic, but not necessarily dark. So you are going to be coming out of that energy, and things are going to start lightening up and changing for you moving into 2021. And I do feel like it's like I was saying at the beginning of your segment, that things might not necessarily have been super dire, but that it's all about your state of mind when you're going through these things, and that maybe the translation is not quite equivalent to the totality of your experience. So I think that has more to do with it than anything else. Just your state of mind and your individual state of being. Is there anything else that I need to tell Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? it's going to be like a sunrise. The changeover of the year will be like a sunrise. I hope you have an excellent week, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Aquarius. Hello, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And if you are watching the Aquarius segment because Jupiter and Saturn were just conjunct in Aquarius as well, that might be a good reason to watch this segment. We'll see. This will be for the week of December 30th through January 6th of 2021. We finally made it, folks. All the way at the end of 2020. I think it's important to remember, though, that just because this year is ending doesn't mean that all of the problems that we had this year are going to be left behind. In fact, I think that the fallout that occurs in 2021 might be equally, if not more, devastating in some ways. But these are changes that are going to need to occur regardless. The reason that we've gotten to this point is that people didn't take action where they should have at a time that would have been more prudent. And so things have just finally gotten to the point where they're going to change no matter what, and you can't stop them. And this can be good, and it can also be very destructive. Very destructive. How many of you have been getting the Tower in your tarot readings, right? All the time. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What do I need to tell you about for the week ahead? Glitterexia. Like eating so much glitter that it explodes your stomach, and yet you don't get any nutritional benefit from it because it's just little pieces of plastic. So that is something that occurs in deep water I guess not just deep water, but a lot of microorganisms, or not. Basically, plankton eats the microscopic pieces of plastic that break down in the ocean, and it creates this chain effect where the plankton starve to death, and then the animals eating the plankton end up getting clogged up with all those plastics, and they start starving to death, and it just kind of finds its way up the food chain. And it all starts with microplastics like glitter. And there's going to be something like that that is relevant to your particular situation, where there might be some case where glitter got into your camera and it stopped working. Like sugar in the gas tank, but not that direct. This is more like somebody releases a chemical and it kills off all of the ladybugs, and then aphids take over everyone's gardens, and then there's like a chain reaction involved. It starts at the very small and gets very big very quickly. There's going to be a situation like that for you this next week, and it seems like it will be deleterious. Is there anything that Aquarius can do to avoid this situation in the week ahead? It's going to be about double checking things. Did I lock the door? Are all the windows closed? Did I sweep recently? Make sure I'm feeling like sweeping the floor, not necessarily dusting, but sweeping the floor could be a big part of this. That if you sweep your floor regularly, could be that dust doesn't clog up your vents or something, but there's going to be some relation. It could even be if you have like small pets, that sweeping the floor keeps them from getting sick or getting hairballs even. So it might be something like that. But I'm not entirely certain why that comes up specifically. It could also be that there's an activity that you do that you are actually dropping more on the floor than you realize. So if you're sweeping, you're going to notice, oh, I have all of this pencil shavings or something that I thought was getting cleaned up. I mean, it'll be different for everybody, so it's difficult to say specifically what that relates to, but this is a very detail-oriented energy. Sorry, switching my legs. I hope that's not too loud. I feel like maybe you were gifted some packs of food as well. Not necessarily like that you went to a food kitchen. That could be the case. But there could be a situation where just pay attention to rice can get weevils in it really easily, so if there's any holes in any of the bags, if you've got a big bag of rice, or mice might be getting into things, just unstack everything, and make sure that anything that's kind of opened up, that you are able to put it into a sealed container. And that might be more difficult, but sometimes you can get one of those big plastic Tupperware containers and you just put everything in there and seal it up. But something like that, like one bad apple spoiling the whole bunch, that kind of an energy. What else do I need to tell Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Your vigilance will be kindly rewarded, so that if you do take the extra steps, that it will improve your life greatly. And especially moving into the new year could be a good time. It could be a good time to go through your pantry and stuff, but I'm not necessarily getting any specific messages about that. Just more like the energy of making sure that your foodstuffs are being kept safe and sanitary. Your refrigerator might not be up to temperature, or getting down cold to the proper temperature. Just make sure that you're monitoring stuff like that. I think you can obtain pretty easily thermometers that can monitor your fridge temp and your oven temps and stuff. It might be worth it. What else do I need to tell Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Granted agency in some area. Okay. So there might be some area where even though you are not at the front of the line at this time, you may be granted agency. And when I say that, I mean that your case gets bumped up to the front of the line. And that may be for a number of reasons. This could be related to healthcare. It could be related to an employment claim. It could be related to an insurance payout. I feel like there's a few situations that could relate to. What else do I need to tell Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? I think it was Teddy Roosevelt had this quote about where he said, "Walk softly and carry a big stick." And that's what I recommend to you this week, Aquarius. Walk softly and carry a big stick. Take care of yourself. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Alright, Pisces. How has your week been? This is going to be for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. For the week ahead of December 30th through January 6th, right? Sorry, the bed's a little bit creaky. So, what does Pisces have to look forward to this week? Drinking lots of coffee with spirulina in it. Some of you are going to be adding spirulina shots to your coffee to boost immunity, I think. And laying the groundwork for laying the groundwork for your 2021 existential crisis, perhaps. I don't know how many of you are left looking up at the sky and wondering, what does it mean? What does it all mean? But a fair number of you have been gazing to the stars, looking for some kind of meaning in your life. And I think a lot of that, as I've mentioned before, Neptune is in its native sign, your sign of Pisces, which has to do with intuition, has to do with endings sometimes, a higher spiritual network that reinforces your being. And so while all of these other unlucky souls are left at the mercy of the mundane, a lot of time you Pisces can just reach out and pluck. Pluck answers right out of the universe. Satisfactorily speaking. So, what makes you so special and different? just a lot of people have the potential to listen to that still, quiet voice inside, but not all of them take that opportunity. And I think you have been throughout this year, and it's been serving you quite well, and it will continue. That will continue to serve you quite well into the new year. And it'll make a lot of things possible that perhaps you had taken for granted might not happen because of the pandemic. This is going to be opening up a better path for you, a better route, not just a better path, but a pre-existing road that others have traveled successfully before. A path you might end up having to be a trailblazer, but in this case, you can forge your own way on pre-existing roads. Given the tendency of others around you to take your intuition for granted, some of those people might end up finding themselves at the end of a short tow line with not enough slack, so to speak. That's not totally the metaphor that I feel like illustrates this. See, like you see sugar plum fairies, like Linda the Good Witch, somebody granting a lot of wishes for other people. This could be you, this could be somebody granting you lots of wishes, but it's possible that you are the fairy godmother in your friend group. Not necessarily because you're a sugar mama or a sugar daddy to your friend group, but because you are able to facilitate wish granting. So you don't have to be a wealthy person to be able to facilitate wish granting. But I feel like moving forward into 2021, it's going to be time to grant your wishes. And so a lot of people who have relied on you in the past to fulfill that fairy godmother role for them, they're going to be left out in the cold. Not because you want to, or because you don't want to provide that for them anymore, but just because you're going to have your own things to take care of. What else do I need to tell Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising about for the week ahead? All that glitters is not gold. All that glitters isn't granite either. Again, with the granite countertops, we have granite countertops in our kitchen. I wonder if that's something that is going to come to bearing. Granite countertops are really sturdy and will hold up, but all that glitters is not granite countertops. Sometimes those composite countertops have little flecks of glitter in them too, and actually they have I think it's some kind of glass composite that is very much like stone and is durable as stone, but it's not. In some cases, that might be preferable, depending on your taste. If you want a very hard stone countertop that's got little flecks of glitter in it, you may decide not to go with granite. But what is the overarching message here for Pisces regarding this situation? Make sure. Give yourself plenty of room to grow into your spirit. So not just situations, but as far as your moral compass is concerned, your belief systems, your aggregated energies. Give yourself some wiggle room, some space to grow into those things. There might be opportunities for you to really expand. It's like when you're a kid and you buy pants that are too long because you know that it won't be but a short time until they're the correct length. It's going to be like that, but it has to do with the aura, with the spirit. And now I know that this is going to get a little overly metaphorical and metaphysical for some of you out there. So, take what resonates and don't worry about the rest. But this is relation. I feel like, I don't know if you've put up like a protective shell around yourself. That's possible. There's some kind of layer that's surrounding you that you have outgrown. And I don't think we're talking about pandemic weight here either, or having put on physical weight. I think this has to do with your auric fields or your spiritual, subtle body type energies. And it's very difficult for me to pin that down. And it's probably different for everyone as to why those barriers might have been put up. But there's going to come a time very soon when those things will be holding you back more than they will be helping you. And you will have to find a way to dismantle and discard them without, obviously you don't want to just rip things down and throw them away. You have to understand why they were in place to begin with. So there's going to be a situation like that comes up for you in the weeks ahead, really, on into 2021, because we are talking about, the switchover between the 2 years. And it is important, though, to realize that the Gregorian calendar is totally made up, and it's just a way of marking time, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't really dictate things necessarily. You could just as easily have your year switch over in the middle of summer if that were how you decided that you wanted to mark time for yourself. We've all agreed on using a certain calendar because it makes scheduling appointments and things like that much easier. And I mean, a lot of it really does have to do with the church. Pope Gregory was the one who said we're going to use this particular calendar, and it has stuck for, hundreds of years now. But
just remember that that's not the totality, and that actually lunar calendars are much more intuitive to use because they do measure roughly 1 month period and a new moon to a full moon and back to a new moon again. So just keep those things in mind as well, that some of the systems that you might be using and taking for granted might not be the best systems for you to use and might not be based on anything at all. So consider that moving forward as well. What about your dream states? What's this about your dream states here, Pisces? Some of you might just be struggling to get to sleep at all. And in those cases, not really paying attention to your dream states, but there's really a lot there. And it's important to, if you're not going to document your dreams in a journal, spend a little bit of time right after you wake up working on recalling your dream state. And you don't necessarily have to write everything down, although I really do encourage people to dream journal because it can really help you work out a lot of things that are going on in your dream states and inside your head at any given time. Can even give you insight into spiritual matters. So I do strongly encourage you to dream journal. Alright, but that's just in general. But I feel like if you have been having a hard time falling asleep, that you might have been not focusing on trying to recall your dreams. But even if you're having trouble sleeping, it's still important. Is there anything else now that I need to tell Pisces? Sun, moon, and rising about the week ahead. The December 30th through January 6th. It's okay to be righteous. It's going to be okay for you to be righteous this week. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. So let's look now at the wax. We have some different shapes here. Let me see if I can find a good color. Yeah. So over here on this side we have like a few shapes. This could be a group of 5 people and another person wandering away toward this larger glob right here. So that could have to do with a friend group that maybe you are pulling away from in favor of higher goals, whether that is a metaphysical higher goal or whether that is just a better job or better job prospects. We have a large shape right here. It looks a little bit like the United Kingdom, that land mass. It could also represent Europe, like France, Spain and Portugal here, and then France and on into the continent of Europe. So look for some answers for different problems that we're having in the world to come from there. It could also be that you will be traveling there sometime soon. Let me just make sure. These two pieces are stuck together. It could be a coupling between
also be that you're torn between two options. And I feel like you're still exploring the possibilities there. But on the one side, a lot of your friends are taking part in this one option, and that's what makes it appealing. And then over here, this other option might be something that you end up having to do alone. And then as far as yes and no answers, there's still a lot of ambiguity here that I see. There might also be something to do with a floral arrangement. This goes back to possibly like blue carnations that I had talked about earlier in the reading. I don't remember which sign that was, but purple carnations came up for one of the signs. So I do see purple carnations coming up here again in the wax, in the ceromancy. As far as yes and no answers, I'm not getting a strong yes or no either way. And I'm not getting a strong sense of a time frame. So if that was in your question, I recommend listening to your crystal scrying on that. Thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you for joining me. Oh, it's okay, you can keep it. Yeah. No, I have plenty more scrunchies. Yeah. I bought like a huge bag of velvet scrunchies. They weren't very expensive. It's just really nice to have a velvet scrunchie. It holds the hair really well. But yeah, you can keep it. I was really glad to see you today. And I hope that you enjoyed our time together. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and leave me comments down below. I always love hearing from you guys, especially if you felt like something that I said resonated with you a lot. I always love to hear when people get something like that out of a reading that's specific, or if you have any more insight into any of the things that came up during the readings today that you'd like to share. I would love to hear that too. And I hope that you have a happy and very safe new year. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again